and welcome to Noni, Yanga's flagship talk show where we discuss all the hot topics. Today we're discussing the role the music ministry plays in the church, and we ask, should gospel music remain there or should it be mainstream? Joining me today, worship leader and singer and songwriter Shola Victor Sajowa and ambassador of contemporary Afro gospel music Andrew Bello. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Lady and gents. Gospel music is one of the most powerful vehicles used to spread the ideals of gospel to audiences across the world. Said to usher in God's presence, gospel plays a major role in the worship experience. For many people choosing a church today, worship leaders have become just as, if not more of an important factor than their pastors. Has preaching taken second place behind praise and worship in the church? I don't know if that's a controversial question, but sometimes when you're discussing church talks, you say anything that's against what people believe, they can be up in arms. So again, we're not kind of trying to say that pastors aren't important, but surely gospel music is powerful.
It is. It is. You rightly said it sets the atmosphere. I mean, before pastor comes to preach, for example, in KICC, where am I allowed to say that?
Surely, this is Noni. Reveal everything.
In KICC, where I come from, we have the prayer session, and bam, it's the worship leader, and we set the atmosphere, which is why you have to be connected to the Holy Spirit to set the atmosphere right.
Yeah.
So that's what starts the service, and then the man of God comes to preach.
So it is laying the foundation. Andrew, you gave us some off-camera, how can I describe it? Holy Spirit. And that's not the kind of music you'd hear in KICC, but it's still treasured and valued. Describe your gospel artistry.
My own type of music is, whether you like it or not, God, just encourage people, I bring forward a message of hope, for those people that they've given up, I encourage even by my performance. So gospel music is very powerful, and it's needed to get more, just to get out there.
But what about the styles? Do you think gospel music, because I would say your style, Andrew, compared to Shola's style, is very kind of contemporary. You call yourself a gospel Afro gospel. You're the ambassador of Afro gospel, and it's not the kind of traditional style of worship and praise. Do you think sometimes we can judge people, Shola, that aren't singing the kind of oli styles that you typically would associate with church?
Well, let's put it this way. I think I wear different hats. This is me, worship leader. Obviously, there's what is expected of you. But as a gospel artist, which I also wear that cap when I'm not leading worship, I try to be versatile.
Yeah.
Now, yes, there's a tendency to want to label people when they're not doing the straight-laced worship leading kind of thing. But the world has moved on since way back when we thought this was how gospel music
Only stand together, clap your hand, da da da.
Or move to the left, to the right.
Which was why young people didn't find our kind of just normal praise and worship thing attractive. But now that it's more open, it's more out there, you can do different styles in praise and worship. It doesn't have to be the normal format.
We said at the top, and I want to ask you, Andrew, do you think sometimes worship leaders, gospel singers have more of a pull than a pastor? Is that where we're getting to? And this is not a competition, but if it's ministry, which we're saying it is, I'm sure we can all agree that it is. Does it matter if the worship singer, that name, that's Sinach, if Sinach is going to be there or Bukola Bekis is going to be there, that it's a crowd already? Or is that kind of not right?
First of all, let's go back. The mission is to usher people to the presence of God.
Yeah.
You know that, and we're all doing the same work. Pastors, singers, everybody. There's no title or anything. We're all the same, but we're all, at the end of the day, we're preaching the same message.
How would you describe, Shola, for people who don't know you, for some people that don't go to KICC, which is probably only one or two people, how would you describe your style of gospel?
I'm quite versatile in my style. Like, for example, I'm a worship leader. Okay, but
What does that mean? What does that mean? Because of course we have people that are not religious that watch Nonny.
You lead people into worship. You lead, like, for example, like I said, in our services, the prayer meeting comes up, and then you lead people in songs, but in worship to the King. You understand? So it's not like that this is a song we are going to sing. Somebody has to start it, or else if we are all seated and there's a song, like, okay, who's going to start? If all of us were to start at the same time, there's going to be chaos.
Trouble.
So somebody has to lead. Somebody has to be the conductor, you know, to lead, you know, song. But I'm quite versatile in my style. Now, one of my singles is Magnificent God. I kind of leaned into his kind of style. It's Afrobeat. Yes. So, and of course, I have another one, which is Eledumare, which is proper bend down and dance.
Yeah.
So, and I've got As Love Demands, which is quite, you know.
Okay, you're reading out the whole music track. Okay.
So I'm quite versatile in my style.
Yeah.
That's what
no,
I'm
and
saying.
I can testify to that because I've listened to your music. You've led me in worship many a time. But do you feel a sense of responsibility? If you're human, I think. You know,
Very much
sometimes as Christians we
me, I'll
pretend that we're not human, that
Very
we're
much so.
we're omnipotent or something, but you are human.
Yes.
And do you sometimes feel a responsibility on a Sunday morning not to get angry, not to surround yourself in anything that can put you off? Because when you go in front of the congregation, you want to make sure you're at your best, or it doesn't work like that?
To be honest, well, as a worship leader, your life is worship. It is not because I'm going to lead worship on Sunday, I have to behave myself. I have to behave myself 7 days a week.
You hear that?
But at the same time, I'm a human being. If you slap me, it will sting. I'll be tempted to kind of suck up, you know, but I'll behave myself.
Yeah.
Because I know whose I am.
Yes.
But always, your life is a life of worship. It's a relationship with God. You're not fronting it. It's who I am.
Yes.
It's to please the Father, and it's giving me the opportunity to lead worship.
What about you, Andrew? Because we spoke off camera before, and gosh, you gave me a good rendition. And I would say that's not typically what you would see in most churches. Do you feel with the mega churches, we don't need to name any names, but the kind of mega churches that are across London, do you feel there is a place? And I'm not talking about their special music festivals. I'm talking about before a pastor comes on, your style of worship. Do you think it's welcomed in the church?
Yeah, it is welcome, but it depends on the church if they will allow it to, for a style like that to go, you know. So, but it's all down to humans to like give them a chance to do it. And still, if mommy or
Sister Shola.
Shola, you know, if she can do it, I can do it. So
yeah, I'm sure. And maybe you'll get an invite to worship alongside Shola one of these days.
Amen.
How has it changed your life, Sister Shola?
What do you mean?
You know, being a worship leader, and is your story kind of similar to Andrew's? And like, you know, you're just a good singer, you know, had the beat, had the rhythm, and then all of a sudden you kind of feel like you're pulled into a direction, and it's something that you can't stop.
Giving my life to Christ, 87, sort of changed the course of my life. I mean, Mom said from age 3, I'd always be wiggling my waist. Put me in a party, Shola's gone. I'm eyes closed and everything. So they always knew that I had music in me. But then becoming a gospel artist, it put me out there because people came to KICC. I would always thank God for KICC.
Yeah.
Saw me ministering on the platform, and they began to now tell other people.
Oh, wow.
Who began to now invite me. I've been to Geneva. I've been to different countries to minister. So it sort of changed. This is more like what I do now. You know, and I'm passionate about what
are you a musician first before you're a gospel artist?
Everything is interwoven. I'm music. How about that?
Okay, your music. Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. Still to come, we look at the commercial success of gospel music, and we ask, should gospel ever be mainstream? See you after the break. welcome back to Nonny. The gospel music industry sees total sales of over $500 million every year, with artists increasingly entering the secular music charts. In a bid to spread the gospel of God to a wider audience, we have seen subgenres like drill, rap and Afro gospel enter the pulpit. The success of these subgenres are pushing gospel music to the mainstream, and these artists are receiving recognition in various awards, such as the MOBOs and the Urban Music Awards. Does gospel music only belong in the church? I kind of feel like that's a silly question coming straight over to you, Andrew.
Yeah.
But does it? And I want you to tell us about the MOBOs, how you got the call, what the night was like, and did you kind of feel that gospel was supposed to be in that secular world?
At that time, when I was going on my journey, I never saw MOBO was on my way. It was like, MOBO is over there.
I'm here.
I'm here. How would this Lagos boy go to MOBO? So, I mean, I had a good support from friends and family. They were pushing me. Some would call me and say, be strong and just focus. And I had that mindset to do it for the love.
When you say do it, what was the it? Was the it trying to get to become a worship leader in the church, or was the it trying to make money, tap into that $500 million?
Wow, I saw the billion. I've never seen the billion face to face. She'll come my way.
Me too, I received it
So,
too.
like I said, it wasn't about the money at first. It wasn't about the fame. It was about the love. What I want to encourage people, because it's my story, what I've been through, the letdown, the heartbreaks, everything.
Yeah, it's your testimony,
It's
isn't
my
it?
testimony that I'm singing out to the world and letting them know that, I'm human. And so many people, you'll find out that so many of the people that I minister, they're unbelievers. So when I have the opportunity to go to the MOBO, it was like, wow, it was needed at that time for the genre that I'm doing.
What year was this?
2016.
Oh, wow.
So it was needed to bring light, also people that want to do Afro gospel, so that they can say, wow, there's the leader.
And how has that changed your ministry and your artistry?
To be honest with you, it brought glory, it brought more attention, and from that attention, I had to put my head down and say, God, this is not about me anymore. It's the boat is getting more, the ship is getting more bigger, and the audience, people are coming, different opportunity.
Were you tempted? Was there temptations to kind of go secular? Some of the offers and some of
course,
some of the after parties. You've got to be careful, haven't you?
I didn't go to the after party.
Okay, good boy,
I did not
good
go
boy.
to the after party. They were like, oh, let's go for after party. I just went to see
the Lord.
Opportunity. So I met people, I met friends. I saw DJ Copy. I was like, wow, is this Copy? so you see, all those things was needed at that time. And I can tell you that from 2009 to now, there's a little bit of change.
Good. I'm happy for you, and it's great to have a MOBO Award nominee on Nonny, first time. Sister Shola.
Yes, ma'am.
Is gospel only for the church, or can gospel become secular?
Gospel is good news. That's the way I look at it. Gospel music is good news music. It's meant for the church and for the world, because how would the world come into the church?
But do the world come in, or does the world pull the gospel artist out?
You see, when the altar calls are being made, it's the world that goes forward to give their lives to Christ. So that's the way I see it. It's for the church and it's for the world to hear. So sometimes some people actually are attracted to our music first.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we are on the cutting edge. We are making sure that it's Bible-based, so that the world can say this is different from what we are hearing.
It's good that you said Bible-based.
Yes.
So what about collaborations?
Wait.
You get a knock on the door, knocks, and it's a secular artist, popular, likes your style, likes your rhythm, and says collaborate with me. But the video will have this all. The video, you'll be seeing girls doing certain things.
Hey, Jesus.
Oh
my God.
Jesus.
You see that area? There's some barriers that we can't cross.
So is that a no-no?
My sister. I still want to sing on Sunday service, so I will not.
Okay.
Go, there's barriers, there's things that we can cross, and we need to also be aware of our surrounding. If someone comes to the door, knock to the door and say, Andrew, we want you to be on this track. First of all, let me sit down and look at it, not to rush. You understand? And then when I look, if I see it, that I can use that to pass a message out to the world, I will go
But
for
can
it.
secular artists, surely this is a fact, secular artists can definitely be religious. You can be Muslim, you can be Christian and a secular artist. Secular artists can sometimes spread a message, no? Come on. Even for us, it's not just even gospel music. There are sometimes you're in the car, you're going through something and there's one song that's playing on Magic FM. You'll be singing along. It's getting you out of that bad mood. It may not be giving glory to God, but it's helping you in a certain situation. Do you not agree?
Salesman has to know his product before he can rightly represent or present the product. How can you say you want to collaborate with me? I'm a born-again Christian. You don't know my God. And we want to sing a song together, for example. I am singing, I'm worshiping the King. The song is, let's talk about holiness. You cannot talk about holiness if you're not born again. So I am here and I'm presenting His holiness. You are singing it from, you just had knowledge.
But what if,
and it lacks power.
But yes, Andrew.
Like you just throw the question. Anybody can sing gospel music. Anybody out there can sing gospel music. Look at Stormzy. Lord, I've been broken. Do you
That's
know
a really
the song
good
actually
example.
crossed to the chat, gospel chat?
I don't know if it was number one. We'll
It
have
was
to
number
check,
one.
but it was a huge track.
It was a big track. So
Yeah.
anybody
Is that
can
gospel?
sing. People claim to be.
He said
is it
Lord
gospel?
and Jesus,
Yeah.
but is it gospel?
Like I said, anybody can sing gospel music.
In fact, how would you define gospel?
It's good news. It's the word of God. It has to be Bible-based.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can sing it, but when I'm talking about collaboration, it's a different ball game.
Yeah.
But many people do it. But are your fruits reflecting the gospel music? Because this is one thing that confuses me sometimes and will confuse the world. You see what I'm saying? So I was going to speak my language. It says, if you're going to shaka, kojo shaka.
They better put the translation.
If you're going to be
on the
Oshoko,
screen. Don't
be
ask me.
Oshoko.
Sorry,
Which
mommy.
one is Oshaka, Oshoko? Be clear about your beliefs. Be clear about who you are. If you want to sing gospel and do everything, give your life to Christ now. Why are you dancing around
What about
it?
Mary Mary? Because Mary Mary, shackles off my face. That was a huge track.
Yes.
A huge track.
Yes.
Mary Mary, they've come to Nigeria, they've been to London to perform in mega churches. And then of course they got bigger and bigger and bigger. They started doing their own reality TV programs. You could see, their life played out. And they got a lot of backlash from the church.
Yes.
People were saying, hang on a minute, this is not the kind of holy. Do you think those are some of the perils of maybe becoming secular?
It's a wisdom thing with them. The issue with them, I cannot speak for them, it's
Yes,
a
of
wisdom
course.
thing. Because we all have our lives and the things that goes on behind the scenes. You don't live your life in front of everybody. Nobody can handle your realities. I don't look like this in the morning. They brought out everything out and people are like, what? But whether you like it or not, that was their reality.
Yes.
It didn't stop them from being born again.
Yes.
But we don't all wake up in the mornings, like Rekabo, Suterebokosa. We have our realities,
Yes.
and people cannot handle your realities.
No, it's true. Let's talk a little bit, Andrew, about gospel drill music, typically hoodies, talking about stabbing a guy, robbing the local shop. And of course, the drill in the church is not about that, but it's the same style hoodie and the way they...
Okay.
What do you think of that?
All right, cool. I will go back in the
Let's go back again.
1993, 95, when we have a proper CAC church back home.
Christ Apostolic.
You dare not sing Fuji song in a church. But now, in the 2000s, now we can see Midnight Crew singing like, come to the house, understand? So we have that. So when I look at these gospel drills, it's a new generation. We're growing. There's another youth coming behind us. So
It's an expression, is it?
yeah, that's their own generation. They have codes. They have ways of communicating with one another. So I would say, instead of looking at the negative side, let's look at the positive side, because these boys are bringing people to church.
That's true.
But the balaclava things, straightforward. Back home, when someone comes to you, I've experienced armed robbers before, when I see this balaclava, straightforward, I get scared. I go straight into defensive mood. Like, this person is coming to hurt me.
Yeah.
You understand? But the good side of the gospel drill, they're doing their own work in their generation. They can speak to people that I can't communicate with. But the balaclava things, I'm really not a fan of it.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think that's the problem that most Christians have with gospel drill coming into the church. It's those negative connotations, and for those that are accepting gospel drill and gospel Afro gospel, would you not say, Sister Shola, that's the same as collaborating with a secular artist? If you're tapping into the secular world for inspiration, surely you're able to tap into, a collaboration for the chant.
My take on that is music in all its genres belongs to God. It's our expression. It's a vehicle with which we express our heart music to the Lord and obviously our experiences, whether it's drill or whatever. But we need to be careful of how far we take our freedom. Because obviously, even in, he talked about the Fuji style. There's a way you dance the Fuji to the Fuji beat. If I begin to now in all its whatever do the whole thing, you're like, excuse you, you're still born again. So we need to be careful how far we push the boat out. That's my take on it.
Do you know, it's really lovely having you here. Always nice to talk about religion on Noni. That's it from me, Juliana Olayinka, and my fantastic guests, Shola Victor-Sajowa and Andrew Bello. Don't forget, guys, Noni's now online. Wherever you are in the world, go to www.yangatv.com to check out every single episode. Join me next time for more Noni Chat. Goodbye.